Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out, join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Bob Pace, and you're live with me of How to Fight CPS and Hang On to Your Children. It's an overcast day where I'm at. I'm broadcasting from the beach in Surf City, USA, about a mile away from the ocean. We have cool weather, about 65. It did rain a little bit, but that's always a welcome sight. A little bit of rain. We never get rain much in California, but we did a lot last year, so hopefully this year we'll get some too. Anyway, this is a show about the child protection system. Now, what I call the child protection system is the agency, which is the arm of social services, that's mandated by Congress that we protect our children from neglect and abuse. Furthermore, if the families have need of help, such as food, clothing, shelter, education, medical, transportation, and a job, they're supposed to help. I mean, that's what the social service is all about, is helping people. And the child protection system that I call CPS. Now, everywhere there's different acronyms for CPS. I know in Arizona it's Department of Children's Services. In California it's Child Protection Services. In Kentucky it's the cabinet. And one of my listeners in Hollywood says it's the DCS, Department of Children's Services. So, and she's from California, but I guess West Hollywood or LA County has the DCS. So when I say CPS, I mean all the entities that are responsible for protecting our children. Also, besides helping out the family in need, if they need to break the family apart because the children are endangered, or in extreme danger, they need to put the family back together, called family reunification. It's proven the best parents are the biological parents. So it's really important. Real important that you're careful about losing your children or the cases you may have before you. There's a lot to know, and I wish I knew what I knew now. When I got my case, it started in 2010, shortly after I lost my job through no fault of my own at age 60. I've been already working for 45 years. So at age 60, I lost my job. And then I started getting harassment by the Child Protection Services. They kept insisting they were getting these complaints from lay people who wouldn't tell me who it was. But I found out later they're my in-laws, my wife's mother, father, sister, 3 sisters, and a brother. And they were calling away from Ohio saying outlandish things like we weren't taking the children to school, we weren't feeding them, we weren't clothing them, we weren't taking care of them, and they were in heavily danger. So they tried to do this because you see, anybody can call in, a layperson is one of the people there, and make accusations that are not true. And that's what my in-laws did. There's no basis for the claim they wanted to take our children. And it was our 3 youngest ones. Our older ones, one left just at age 25, just before the before things went sour with CPS. So I glad my older children escaped what my wife and I had to go through. Now we've been married for going on 32 years and I have a lot of experience. I've also had a previous marriage for 10 years, so I have 41 years in raising kids and also taking care of my family. Unfortunately, the first marriage didn't work, and as a revenge on her part, she said, "You never see your daughter." And to this day, I have not. She was 3 years old, and the last things I heard her was, "Daddy, don't go." And I said, "Well, I have to go. Our visit is over." And that was the saddest goodbye I ever said to anything. It left a really terrible imprint and sadness in my heart. That my youngest of three daughters was no longer with me. And so I encourage her brothers to see her, and they go out and see her at times. My other child were 15 and 12 and 9 when they were taken. And especially the 12-year-old, which was my daughter, that was really sad because they really worked her over. They got her to divorce me and her mother, emancipate, change her name, come up with some allegations, and tried to um, I guess, move on with her life. She thought she had to. You know, when she changed her name, she got the whole name. She had three parts to her name. It was a beautiful name. She was a beautiful daughter, and I just, to this day, am so sad. And she and I had a close bond. So, um, CPS is an awful thing to experience, and I will talk about it more in depth there. We have some little difficulty in the room. Yesterday, I had no trouble getting in today, but we still don't have Vonage going. We've had trouble with Vonage in the past, and lately it was just text message, but then the whole system signed out, and I can't get the password to sign back in. Um, I want you to know that as a family man, I really care about people and I care about you all, and I would hate to see you have to go through what I went through. It was a horrible, horrible experience. Now, you found me on Facebook, Fight CPS Bob Pace, and I'm broadcasting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. And I do this twice a day, Monday through Sunday. I'm on at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time and on at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Both are for 1 hour. And I do this regularly. Um, so I want you to know that what you're going through is hard, but there's lots of ways I can help you fight it. Now, there's several ways we can go with this podcast. One, I can talk about the social workers. Two, I can talk about the child protection system and all the problems with it. Three, there's a lot of topics that I've opened, like a 3-8 motion, adoption, guardianship. I can talk about a lot of those things there. Now, we have an attorney. I was thinking hard in my mind, reaching out, soul searching. That I wish I had a crystal ball and I could help you by waving a wand and all your woes and troubles will go away. Now, there's four ways that you can interact with this podcast. One of the first ways is to just be in this room. Um, I'm glad you found this room. I'm glad you're in here. All you have to do is listen and take notes. You can send me emojis, which are fun. I love hearts. I love thumbs up. And I love smiley faces. Um, Also, you can send stars too. If you like what I'm doing, send me stars. And then please check below if you wanted to follow, and then check the bell if you want to be a heads up when I'm going next time I'm going to be on. Now I'm on, as I say, 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, and I'm on at 8 o'clock. So I'm reaching out. I really like to have y'all, text me in your comments. Right now our phone line's down, so you can't call in. That's really sad. So I did have a caller, but they know me from my personal phone, and I talk to them. But hopefully it'll be up and running. I sent off an email, so hopefully I'll get a response back, and then we'll be up and running. Now, when you type in a comment, that's if you want to talk to me, you can text it. Also, it could be a question. As far as it didn't be a comment, it could be a question. So, um, now when you comment, it's just typing, simple typing. And you want to either have a question or a comment about CPS. We want to stick with CPS. Please show your first name, your city, your county that you're in, and your state. Now, if you're from another country, which I've had about 14 countries contact me, go ahead and put your first name, your city, and your state, and maybe your province. You don't have states, but you have provinces. And then your greedy. So those are some things that you can work on. Um, with the countries I've had from Bangladesh, New Delhi, India. I've had a country up in the Middle East is in Arabic, so I can't know which country it was. I've had the continent of Africa, Liberia, on the north, on the west coast, small little country. Rwanda in Central East Africa, small country near Lake Victoria, and then Mozambique in the east coast of Africa, the south part, and opposite Madagascar. I've also heard from South Africa, the province on the west coast, and they had a lot to say and a lot to do. Um, so it's very, very, very easy to write those words, but try to be complete with your case. Now, going back to those countries, we left off with uh, South Africa, the province on the west coast. We went up to Europe, and I've had England, Scotland, Wales. That's part of the United Kingdom, and then I've had Denmark and Sweden. And across the pond, I've had the Canadian provinces like British Columbia and so forth. Also, I've had all the 50 states, including the District of Washington, D.C. So it's important that you try to be single when you're looking at all these issues. Um, now, we moved down from Canada to North America, down there to the United States, all 50 states and Washington D.C. Further south, we go to Mexico, and then we go to South America. I've had a country called Guyana, and Guyana is on the east coast of South America, north of Brazil, east of Venezuela, and they text in a message too. Then they're across the South Pacific, land down under, we have Australia, and the place like the Gold Coast, which is on the east side of Australia, has commented about things. So the one person so far that's making love. Now, at the end, before you type your comments, if you could tell me something about the. You're welcome to use my plug if you want.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. I was doing a live and my
Yeah.
phone died.
That's okay.
Everybody's probably like, what happened to the Reverend?
Yeah. They're right here. Old bank of me.
Thank
Um,
you. You're my angel.
so these comments that you make, they will come from the heart. It's maybe hard to sometimes say comments. I have my days where I have a hard time thinking because CPS reminds me of my family, and I miss my family a lot. It was a heartache for me because it happened to me so out of the blue. I was just lost my job at the age of 60 in 2010. And I didn't lose my job because of something I did. It's because the state of California was going bankrupt. And I had a lot of contracts in construction, and they needed that money to keep California alive. Right now, at that time, Detroit was going bankrupt. The city of Detroit was, and California was going to follow suit. But they suspended my contracts temporarily. They wrote IOUs. And that really was against the law because it's public funds that are awarded to me. And you're talking about a good $53 million worth of contract work. So I had to close my doors on public contracting and look for a job. The same token, I had to deal with the CPS week after week because I had my in-laws who are so obsessed about taking our three younger children. It was crazy. It was crazy. So the lay people are the ones you have to be careful about. They do abuse the system. A layperson can call in and make up any kind of story in retaliation against your neighbor making too much noise, maybe working on his car, his dog's barking, or maybe his bushes are overhanging. And so this guy, the lay people will call in and say something about this guy, and then CPS will come out because they believe everything here is the truth. You're guilty while they're doing an investigation. It isn't like other criminal law where you're not guilty, you're proven guilty. In CPS, you're guilty. With that, it's really hard because they really try hard to take your children into foster care, which is very corrupt. It's very, very, very hard when you're dealing with a very corrupt agency, and that's what CPS is. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. But there are good CPS, don't get me wrong, but they're far and few. And I really like to hear from some of the social workers that work for CPS, including the policeman, hear how you did it. I've had three. I had Carol from Maryland, and another girl from Indiana, and then the last girl was from New York and New York City. But what they do is um, so when my case went on for 5 years, constantly batting the allegations, they contacted the local police and got a detective to track me down. And then the detectives insisted I open my house, which I'd already shown them my house several times and showed them, disputed everything, but they wanted to see my house. They were fishing. Anytime they come to your house, they're fishing. There was enough information. You got to be really careful when you let them in your house. Because not only are they dirty, but they take advantage of the situation. Um, it's a very unpleasant thing, and my youngest son was with me because I just picked him up from school, and that was sad. That was really, really sad. So I'm telling you, this agency is corrupt. They will hurt you. The foster care system is really not very good either. They take the kids in, and it's all about money. It's $1 trillion business, is what CPS is. They look at it as a money making thing, and they attack the low income, the people that are having hard times. They try to take advantage of them because maybe they're not as smart or they don't have money to hire an attorney. And that's one of the first things you got to do is you got to hire an attorney when you get involved with CPS. Because without an attorney, you're going to be lost. And I don't mean a court-appointed attorney. They'll give you a court-appointed attorney. But the 18 or 19-year-old is so much, um, so much that they take a long time and drag your case for years. My case went to 3 years. It's 5 years of allegations and 3 years of the kids that were trafficked into foster care. And they were more in danger by them than they were in the danger of the schools. They were in school at the time they're trying to come after my kids. And I strongly recommend that you be very, very careful and watch your back, because a lot of things you're supposed to know, like they're not supposed to go into your home without your permission or without a court warrant. They're not supposed to take your children without a court warrant or your permission too. So there's a lot of things that they just break your constitutional and civil rights. They break your constitutional and civil rights. So get me those comments in so we can start helping you out here. It's important that you let me know, not let me know um, with either a text message or right now that's about it. You can be a guest on a podcast. I like to go to how to be a guest on our podcast. We can take up to 10 people on my podcast, and it's really easy because you come on and you can pretty much talk what you want to talk about. So so I want you to think about some of the things I say because it puts you in a spot too. There's so much the knowledge you need to get on the internet, and I have one spot. I mean, the Google has been really a good resource. And one of my rules number 4, is spend a long time, like say 60 hours, researching the internet about your case. It's very important how you word it. It's very important how you word it. You want to word it with the city, and if it's a small city, like say in Athens, Georgia, you want to say Athens and Atlanta, Georgia. Then following that, you want to use the acronym CPS. Then after the CPS, you type in your question like, what is dependency court? What is a 3.8? What is an ICWA Act of 1978? So you can pretty much type a lot of things that'll come popping up. There's a wealth of information, and a lot of it's by state. So you can get those user guides with all the agency that tells you what they do and what they don't do and so forth. So I'm telling you, you do that research and you think about all the things you have questions about, you'll find everything. So rule 5 is rule 4 is you should spend 60 hours researching all about your case in the city or the county where you're at. And that's well worth information, good wealth of information. Now, I want to finish about being this guest. I can take up to 9 people. My show producer, Grace, who works behind the scenes, will help you out. All you have to do is say, I want to be on Bob's evening show on Saturday or Bob's morning show on Wednesday. You let her know what show you want to be on, and then you email it to her. Her name is Grace at VincentWDavis.com. Grace at VincentDavis.com. She'll help you out. Yeah. So, to be on this show as a guest is a wonderful experience. You'll be able to talk. I can take up 9 people, and all you have to do is email Grace at VincentWDavis.com. Grace at VincentWDavis.com. She will contact you, give you the link to go on StreamYard. That's the application we use when we transmit on YouTube. And once you get that link, if you happen to get knocked off, use that link again. It's good for the show. So don't lose that link. Cherish it. It's a special way to get on the show there. Now, when she does contact you, she'll tell you about certain rules like no eating or smoking during the show. Also, we don't use the names of children, judges, or social workers on the show. Some simple things like that. She'll talk about your sound and lighting and so forth. Try to use a computer. It's okay if you use a phone, but try using a computer. Try using a computer. Excuse me 1 second to get refreshing drink here. So that is the third way. A fourth way to be on my podcast is to talk to you on my office phone. But right now, The application we use is called Vonage. It's down, so you cannot call, or I cannot call in either. So, um, so without that phone call, it's kind of limited to only three things we can do. One, you're in this room and you can listen and take notes. Two, you can text me a comment. Um, and then three, you can be a guest on the podcast. Now, there's lots of things we can do in this room. I can talk about my rules. I've already talked to you about rule number 4. A little bit talk about rule number 1, which is getting an attorney. And that's really important to think about getting an attorney, because fighting CPS is like open heart surgery. You have to have an experienced person that's going to work on your heart. The same thing's going to be true with the child protection system. Now, the child protection thing is corrupt because they have all these bonus incentives they pay their workers. They will lie. They will seek revenge. And a lot of them don't care about your children or about family reunification. So it's going to be a hit and miss. And when I said that you needed a doctor to work on a heart, we need an attorney to help you get out of this mess. And what I don't mean is a court-appointed attorney. Court-appointed attorneys are attorneys that the courts will give you, but they're not really dependency juvenile family law attorneys. You're in the area of dependency law that deals with juveniles and families. It's very important you understand that and recognize that. That's really important there. So you have to be careful, because if you use a court-appointed attorney, they're going to have a caseload, and it's going to be too hard for you. It's going to be too hard for you because they'll have 30 people and they will not be able to meet with you. They're criminal attorneys. They're not dependency attorneys. That's the field you're in. Juvenile family dependency law. That's what you want to be in. And these court-appointed attorneys, the child protection system is hoping you take them and hoping that your children would take them. Because if your children has them, and let's say you have 3 childs, a mother, father, that is now 5 different attorneys. They all have something in common. They're court-appointed. They will not fight for your case. They don't do anything like that. They're just too slow, and I've had a miserable time with them twice. So I'm telling you, you really got to be careful. And that's why a real bona fide attorney is important. Now, we have one here. His name is Vincent W. Davis. He's been practicing law for 35 years. He gave a little spiel about his Saturday Zoom meeting with y'all to talk about strategies of how to fight CPS. He gives a lot of free time, and he's a kind person. He will help you out. Now, if you got some time, instead of with your court-appointed attorney, I'd like you to talk to Mr. Davis and see maybe he can help you. All you have to do is line up a Zoom consultation with Mr. Davis. Now, I have it on my screen below my window right now. To consult Vincent Davis, you get 30 minutes. You get 30 minutes to talk with him. It'd be a private meeting. And all you have to do is go to this website, https:// Candidly, CALENDLY.com/apps, APPTS, VWD / Pace. That's how you want to, um, uh, that's what you want to do when you want to sign up for that Zoom meeting. That's really, really important there. Um, the website again is https:// Candly, / not forward slash, correction, .com /APPTS VWD /Bob Pace, BOBPACE. So when you go there, take your credit card out and sign up, and you only will charge you $60 for 30 minutes. So that's an avenue that you can try out and so forth. But you'll thank me, because when you have that Zoom meeting with him, you'll learn so much that will help you out with your case. Now, you just go to that website. Now, I have another number on the screen, which is called 888-888-6582. That's the office number. And if you want something from the office, you can contact that number. Also, if you don't see me or anything, because I try to help you solve your case. But Vincent Davis will take it one step further. If you hire him, he will definitely get your kids back. I hired him too, but it does take money to hire Mr. Davis. So, he will talk to you, and you just got to sign up for that session with him. Now, when you do talk to him, you have a warm feeling. He's a pit bull of attorney. He's been doing this for 35 years, fighting CPS. In fact, he also has done lawsuits against CPS and won, both in the state and the federal courts. So he's a real deal, and he will fight your case. He's been fighting cases in San Bernardino, LA County, up north in Shasta County, and even in the state of Oklahoma. He will do other states. Not afraid to go out there. So you really want to give him some consideration. And when you do talk to him, tell him that I sent you. So he knows that he knows that he's working some semblance out there. Also, so I'm going to look at a couple core digest and see some questions answers. I was hoping that either Natalie or Faye would call me on my private line, but I haven't heard from them. Natalie is a single mother in West Hollywood, and Faye is a single mother in Richmond, Kentucky. She has two children. Both of them have two children, but they lost them. Except Faye's got her son, and she's trying to get guardianship of him. So that'd be nice there. So, Course Digest is a question answer application, and I found about it, but I geared it to CPS questions. So, it's kind of interesting where they have that for you there. Okay. Now, here's a question here, and it says that um, the question is, my son wants to see me, but I don't want to see anything with him or his mother. I've already paying child support. How to tell the mother to stop? Well, this is mother-in-law conflict, but that's not really CPS, so I'm going to skip that one. Okay, I'm trying to find a better one here. Okay, here's a good one. What if my child school repeatedly calls CPS on me? Do I have the parental right to? Let's see what it says. Do I have the parental right to remove my child from that school? Well, the answer to this was done by Mountain Mama, who's the one who answered this question. We moved our child and switched to a virtual learning. The person in question that had called CPS about the CPS worker lied on that step. Let me see here. Now, this Mountain Mama said we removed our child and switched um, them to a virtual learning. The person in question that called CPS and the CPS worker lied on the stand to have my child removed from my home. Wait for it to load here. It's kind of a little slow. And then placed in juvenile detention. Why? Because my child is autistic and does not handle bullying at all. It created a mental health crisis that the person in question was, one, not qualified to handle, and two, admitted in the stand they just didn't know how to help my child. In fact, both the person in question and the CPS worker did not like that my child therapist and board certified psychiatrist did not agree with that. Let me see here. Now, both the certified child psychiatrist did not agree with them, and both refused to recommend removing my child, locked the child up, and during drugged the child for a chemical imbalance. So they lied about circumstances, and my child was locked up in a detention facility that was not capable of helping my child Either the director was upset and told the judge that my child had no business to be detained in such a matter. And then she further says we retained an attorney and got our child back. Not a damn thing has been done to the person in question nor the CPS worker. You're lucky to get your child back. That's one thing you got to be lucky about. My child now has PTSD, nightmares, etc. from experience. My child is terrified going back to school. To the person, my child is afraid to go back to school, and I fear they will continue to ignore the bullying and choose to punish my child again. My child has been my child has been happier and healthier not going to the school. Well, I don't know, and again, I have nobody here to comment on this question except myself. And usually, I have Natalie who calls in or Grace, but not Grace. Um, Faye. I have trouble with Faye and Grace's names. Um, so, this officer, this is by Ellen, who works for a roofing company. I had an officer come to my house with a warrant for my arrest and for a ticket that I was never issued. What are my rights? Well, first, no one's going to come to your door for a traffic warrant. Well, that's true. It's not worth their time. They'll arrest you next time you stop in an accident or dumb enough to do something that attracts police attention. Secondly, on the ludicrous, minuscule chance that some officer is wasting his time serving traffic warrants, you will be, you will be arrested. Period. You'll be taken to jail where you will have to be booked. Part of the book will be verified who you are, in fact, the person named in the warrant, which of course you cannot possibly come, possibly because since you claim you never got a ticket for anything ever. Since it's not you, you'll be released immediately without being booked. But assuming that you are deemed to be the person who will sit in and lock up until you appear in front of a judge, a public defender will be there to advise you as the fly on your rights. She will tell you to plead not guilty, to change it so the hearing will be required. She also will take um, your rights. She will tell you to plead not guilty and to change it so a hearing will be required. She will also plead as soon as you are hearing. Um, a public defender will be there to advise you. Uh, Second, on the ludicrously minuscule chance that some officer is wasting his time serving traffic warrants, you will be arrested, period. You'll be taken to jail or you'll be booked. Part of that booking will be verifying that you're in fact the person named in the warrant, which of course you cannot possibly be since you claim you never got a ticket for anything ever. Since it's not you, you'll be released immediately without being booked. But assume you are deemed to be that person. You'll sit and locked up until um, but assume that you are deemed to be that person. You'll be sitting back locked up. Okay. A public defender will be there to advise you. She will tell you to plead not guilty to that charge. So a hearing will be required. She will then also, um, ass- assuming you have a squeaky clean background, and recommend you be released on your own recognizance. Because you are nonviolent first time offender, the state will agree because the case isn't actually worth their time to prosecute. Now, the prosecutor will agree and the judge will agree and the case will be dismissed. So that's the good outcome of that particular case. That was a good outcome. I'm glad to hear that part there. So here's a question about foster kids. Um, where do fosters go when they are 18? Well, a girl from Annie who was a foster child for 5 years says, I was in a foster care from age 13 until my 18th birthday. As I orphan out, let me see. So orphan out with the adult relatives. When I turned 18, I was given the option of staying with my foster family and paying minimum of rent or moving out. I chose to move out of the state to go to college. So I was able to move in with my foster mother's younger sister in that town. I wanted to um, get to know them till I get out on my own. I lived with her family for a few months until I made more friends and finally found a Now, he says I lived with her family for a few months until I made friends and found a roommate situation. I didn't pay rent, but the babysat and helped out all the family owned hamburger place a few hours a week to make up for it. I've been working the last 2 years of high school, so I had savings and also was eligible for Social Security. While I was in college, as I was in foster care because I was orphaned. I also got a check for $2,000 from the county as that they had placed a trust on the difference between what my Social Security monthly payment was and the amount paid to my foster parents. This was in 1976. I felt it appeared to go out on my own as much of my other 18-year-old friends. So that's how that ended there with that core digest. Now, I've told you about rule number one, which is get an attorney, and about the disadvantage of having a court appointed attorney. I've told you about rule number um, four, about researching the internet about your case. There's another important rule, rule number three, that deals with letting people into your home or releasing your child or getting your children. There's only three ways that police or the child protection system can get in your home. One is you give them permission. Two, there's domestic violence happening and the child's in danger, so the police and the social workers are going to step into the home to see what they can do to help. And third is a warrant. That's a court order paper that they get from the court, and they can enter your home using that. So those are the only three ways of getting into your home. You don't have to answer your door. I tell people not to. Too many people are being shot point blank and killed. I've known 3 or 4 people that just been shot recently. So I really don't recommend it. Um, so be careful. When you talk to social workers, don't talk to them. You can tell them that you need your attorney present, and you can tell them we'll schedule another time. Don't be intimidated. Don't be pressured. You don't have to say anything to social workers. You don't have to talk to them. You don't have to give up your children. They do have a court order they can get that has very clearly told what they can do with your child. And that can be from something that we did, or when you sit there and schedule that appointment, do it on neutral grounds. Do it at Starbucks or McDonald's. Don't do it at their office or at your home. You don't want to give them a chance to find anything wrong with your lifestyle. They will have to inspect your home, but you should have an attorney present. If you have that attorney present for all matters, you'll certainly do a lot better than not have an attorney present for all the matters there. Now, I've come close to the end of my podcast. It's been a hard one because we've had really very little action in here. I want to thank the thumbs up for Senino, a fellow Chintesman. That's nice. Thank you for your thumbs up. I want to thank all the other people that visit the room and so forth. I'll be on again tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now, don't forget, this Friday night, I will not be on at my normal time at 7 p.m. I'm going to be on a time different. And I'll let you know when I get that time. So I'm going to a football game with my son there. So I want everybody to have a really happy day and keep fighting for your children. Keep fighting for your children. And it's important that you don't stop. God bless you all. And I'll see you again the next time. And now there's going to be a little bit of an ad that will play right after I log out.
Hi, I'm attorney Vincent Davis, and I've been fighting CPS for over 35 years. Through my years of experience, I've gained invaluable insights that I'm ready to share with you. If you're a parent or a caregiver or a relative, we need to talk. I'm offering a new opportunity for you to speak with me on a one-on-one basis. Ask me any questions, and I'll provide you with the insight you need to take steps in your CPS case. Members get everything they need to gain confidence and the knowledge that they need to support necessary to truly fight back. And as a special thank you for attending, I have a special offer just for you. Don't miss out. Join us, and let's take that next step together. I'll see you at the question and answer event.